Good morning and welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside these shows while they are live. But most importantly, if you would like to join the debate with the page you are currently watching on mute, simply click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. And if you are, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. In a moment, I'm going to transition across to my photo so I can share the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter, and I would encourage anybody who is currently in the live stream to please also share the show. Sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to this channel, which is actually my backup channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Do some shout outs while I'm sharing the show. Scott Veach, good to have you here, my friend. Ranty, nice to see you. Be good if one of you could test the link just to see if it actually does work. I'm working out a few teething problems now. I'm on the backup channel. I will work through them probably within half a dozen shows. But yes, if someone could test the link, that'd be greatly appreciated. Roger MC, good to see you, my friend. Please share the show. Pope Hyena, good to have you. The Rig, hooray, good to see you, The Rig. Thanks for being here. Saunders, nice to see you. Karen P. Coltrane, thanks for being here. Nick, formerly Nick L, good to have you, Nick. Any more for any more? Vinegar Strokes, good to see you as well. Thanks for being here. Ian Matheson, thanks for being here as well. Good to have you in our live stream. Base, nice to see you, as always. Any more? I think that's pretty much it. John Watson, just sneaking in at the end. Good to have you here. No mods. Out of the territory, John Watson. I'm surprised it took as long as it did for them to bomb the last channel. Sound is breaking up. Okay, I'll reset my media engine. Let's see if that's... Any better? Hopefully that should have solved the problem. Sound is crackly. Shouldn't be any more. Sounds fine now. Good. There's about 20 things that I have to do to get this show actually rolling. One of them is restarting the desk, but I just forgot. It's because it's a new channel and I'm just trying to work my way around some of the what are they called? Anomalies. But this may be it may be a disastrous show if there's a couple of things I've forgotten. I may very well have forgotten to do a few things. There's a couple of creases that I haven't worked out as well, which I'm sure I will figure out eventually. Gem Panda's been very kind in terms of helping me out to set up this secondary stream. But the thing he's actually told me to do I haven't implemented yet, so I'm going to tell you what. But once I do, hopefully that'll be basically exactly the same. This show will be exactly the same as it was on my primary channel. Big thanks to all the people who subscribed last night. I can't quite believe that I'm doing this live stream. I had actually resigned myself to just not doing it. And the reason is fairly simple. These shows don't make very much money commercially, so when I did interviews, Flat Earth interviews, they'd justify the time. These don't in commercial terms. The adverts just don't cover my time. You know, I'd rather do more hours at work than do this if they don't earn any money. So the super chat was literally what kept the show running. People very kindly contributing to me directly through super chat was what kept the show going. But this hasn't got a super chat, or didn't have a super chat until last night. So for all the people who subscribed to get me over 1,000, I am extremely grateful, as it's what keeps the show going. I'm not going to lie, I am financially motivated. Unfortunately, my time does have to be monetised, and yeah, if it isn't, I can't justify the time with the wife and family. But I'm glad to be doing it, as I do love doing these debates. Get a few comments that ask me, how do you put up with all of these idiots, blah 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 blah. It's like, I love making videos. This is what I want to be doing. It'll be a sad day when I have to go and do more hours at work and not stream for whatever reason. You know, I don't want that to happen, because I like making videos. That's what I would class myself as. A YouTuber, first and foremost. I know a lot of people count themselves as truth seekers, first and foremost. Well, I don't. I've been making videos on YouTube for 10 years, long before Flat Earth came along. For me. Saunders says, at Ranty, I didn't care much about the Isle of Man. It got boring. I downloaded Google Earth the first time. Whereabouts was he? Near the towns? I don't know if I agree with you there. I would talk about that Isle of Man photo until the cows came home. Indefinitely, in other words. It is an amazing piece of flat Earth proof. That's what it is. Proof that the Earth is flat. So I would talk about it all day long. Yeah, it's an interesting situation. We have the refractive band that is typically on all over the flat Earth proof in quotes of Lite. They've had this refractive band, and it puts every single photo into the category of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. You could argue that it's refraction, because it is causing what looks like a curve to be there, and all the people who debunk those images, Joshua Newicki style photographs, is say it's the curve. That's all they ever do. Whereas in the case of Sleeping Warrior's image, that tiny, teeny, tiny band of refraction is nothing. It's minuscule by comparison to what we usually see at the distances we usually see. Where are we with the trig on the full composite? I think you should ask Chris, really. He's showed me some amazing things just last night after the end of yesterday's show. You can snipe me the rig. I don't want you to. That's something I'll be working around. One of the list of things I've got to do. Prevent me from being sniped in these hangouts. For the time being, if I do get sniped and the show ends, I've got another backup show which I'll start. And then if that runs out, that'll be the end of the show. So, you know, if people do want to shut the show down for at least the next few days before I put that workaround in place, they can. I hope they don't. I hope they want to see the show. But as I say, there is a workaround to that. I just haven't implemented it yet. I wouldn't do that, says the rig. Well, I'm glad that I found out about it yesterday. You know, on my main channel, I couldn't be sniped, and I had no idea why. I don't know. But as I say, a couple of people have explained how I can prevent myself from that happening on future shows. We don't know who sniped. We have no idea. And they probably will never tell us. I wouldn't if it was me doing it. So it's unreasonable to blame ballers. That said, it has been extremely irritating for the ballers, because there's only one way around the image of the Isle of Man, and that is to say that it's a holographic projection of land that sits at one end of the island at least, almost a quarter of a mile behind Earth's curvature, which is simply not evidenced in any way, shape or form. There's no demonstration of the entire island looming above Earth curve. There just isn't any evidence of that. There is evidence to show that there is refraction blocking the small tiny portion of land below the lighthouse. Coincidentally, that amount of land would be the amount that would be the height on the far left of the image, i.e. that should be long obscured by Earth curve. I think the fact that it's island might have something to do with that. Roger MC says, I can't see the stream. Is that so? I've got my photos up if that's what you mean. There's nobody on, there's nobody joined, nobody's even checked the link. Don't even know if it works. Hopefully it does, otherwise it's going to be me waffling for a while. Somebody could just check the link just to see if it works, otherwise it'll literally just be me waffling about this for the next 2 hours. Well, an hour and 50. It is Island, Ranty, and you, me, and I think Anthony have all maintained that from the start. None of us have wavered in that position. Because last night on the 99 show, the 99th Flat Earth debate, people were saying, oh, he thinks it's Ireland. It's like, I've never changed my position. The only time we ever say it isn't Ireland is when we concede for the sake of argument with ballers. Because they want to say it's the Isle of Man, even though that's a quarter of a mile behind Earth curve when they concede that. It's easier to concede a quarter of a mile of Earth curve. Oh, brilliant, Lottie. It does work. Excellent. Thank you, Lottie. I'll just turn you up so the audience can hear you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Lottie.
Nice to be
have you here.
Good morning, everyone. We made it to the 100th show, which is
we did.
Fantastic news for us all.
Almost didn't. If it wasn't for the people subscribing yesterday, I wouldn't have done this stream, I'll be honest. If there wasn't an opportunity to get super chats, as mercenary as that sounds, I wouldn't have done this show. But this channel's now at over 1,000, so I've got a super chat. So hit that super chat if you're enjoying these live streams.
Hit that super chat, people. Give Nathan your hard-earned money.
That's right. Give Nathan your hard-earned money.
Okay, Nathan, I think it's time for shout-outs. Well, no, not shout-outs. This is welcomes.
You go ahead. You do shout-outs. I like shout-outs.
Welcome to Pope Hyena. We know him and all his family. They're always watching. We like those guys. CTS Baby. Oh, and Ace. He's always full of insightful comments. Really nice. Nice guy. Probably lend you loads of money if you needed it. The Rig. The Ranty. He owes me loads of money and I need it.
You got your watch page open.
Sorry. Karen Pickle Train. Just leaving Riley's house this morning. Probably catching the first bus home. The Walk of Shame, I think it's called. Who else is here? Let's have a look. We've got Shaunders, we like him. We've also got Vinegar Strokes, who's still alive. Gem Panda, one of my favourite people. Soundly as well. He's not here, just shouting him out because he's absolutely awesome. Water, I hope he turns up for work today. They phoned in sick like 3 times, unacceptable. Sleeping Warrior doesn't seem to be here.
Who was that you just mentioned? Who phoned in sick?
Curved Water.
Oh, right, yes. Yes, he should be facing disciplinary action.
I'll have a quiet word with him. Scott Veach. I'd just like to shout out Paul, actually, Paul Voigt. He's fantastic. He's doing great work. And we appreciate everything he's doing here.
Scott Veach says, I am definitely confused as to what the land could be. I assume he's referring to the little peninsula that sticks out on the left-hand side of the Isle of Man. It's Ireland. That's what it is.
It's not... This is introduction time for welcomes. We're not discussing Ireland right now, Nathan. if you could just keep in line, that would be brilliant. So who else? Are we going to have Arwin today? That would be fantastic. Spells and some rituals done. Ranty Sting, it is Island. It's not Iron Ranty. You're a knucklehead. You know absolutely nothing. You're actually negative in knowledge, which is quite a feat.
What do you think it is then, Matty? In all seriousness, no trolling or anything. What do you think it is?
Oh, myself.
Yeah.
I'm unsure. I mean, I know you're probably not going to like this, but if I probably go with what the most scientific answer is, and it looks like we can't see Island. Probably the Isle of Man.
Okay.
Isle of Man, Isle of Man, Isle of Man, Isle of Man.
The scientific answer is that section of the Isle of Man, which is about 1,200 feet behind Earth curve, is being uniformly lifted up above the Earth curve.
Okay, first of all, your question. You've mentioned about maybe 4 or 5 different numbers. You've said 1,300 feet. You've said 1,200 feet. You've also said 900 feet, and you've said quite a few times a 1,000-foot wall. Yeah. So you've changed your answer, so you don't even know what's going on.
Well, the reason for that is because there's several different mathematical calculations that you can do on how much of the land you can see. In terms of the obstruction, I think it's 1,200 feet, just over 1,230 feet that you should have literally physically blocking your view. That's the actual obstruction. Whereas the calculation, because of Mick West, also includes refraction, standard refraction. Well, if you include standard refraction, it brings it down to about 1,000 feet. So to keep it nice and round and sounding good, I say 1,000 feet of earth wall blocking your view, because then that's pretty much the lowest number that you could get to. But in reality, it's almost a quarter of a mile. It's like 1,200 and I think it's 1,260 feet, something like that. But 1,000 is just a nice round way of saying a huge amount of Earth curve that isn't there. That your scientific explanation just basically says it's being projected up. You can't tell that it's being projected up. It just looks how it would if you could just see it. But it is. Just trust us on this. Here's how the mathematics for refraction works.
Didn't Paul and them do the calculations for you, which showed that it was nowhere near 1,000 foot? And also, when you're quoting standard refraction, didn't they explain to you that that's just an average of the variables that are included in for refraction?
Yes, they did. They said that it's such a small amount.
Refraction for somewhere in a different part of the world would be different.
So
that's just what we use as an average,
there's two parts to that. There's 2 parts to that. So number one, they're saying that it's a tiny amount of refraction. The calculation would only have to change a tiny amount in order to bring that land back. Well, the first problem with that is that their presuppositional argument for light bending down, but actually looking like it's bending up, is a presuppositional argument based on you being on a sphere to begin with. So that argument doesn't hold water because it bases itself on you being a sphere to begin with. So that's the first problem. Hold on, my kids. What? Yes, that's very nice. Thank you. You want me to hold this? Okay, I'll hold this. So the second problem is that if you're going to suggest that that tiny degree of refraction change can bring the island back, you also have to concede that with the perfect conditions, that being the theory, that tiny change of refraction bringing the island back, that theory would also mean that on the perfect day, with enough altitude and a long enough zoom, you could see your own arse around the curve of the Earth, which is preposterous. So you have to accept that. That's why it's been said twice.
I'm not scientifically literate, but I think I've explained that technically, theoretically could be true. I don't think there's enough.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it is. If you're on a ball, you have to accept that. You must accept that as a baller. It's ridiculous, and that's why I call you all fantasists. If you want to accept that you can see your own arse in a telescope, theoretically, then that's nonsense, and that's why I call you fantasists. You can believe whatever you like.
Again, I'm not as scientifically or as mathematically adept as Paul or Rumpus, but if you say it's impossible, on what basis do you say it's impossible?
I didn't say it's impossible. I said you must accept, you, not me, must accept that it is theoretically possible to see your own arse on the globe based on their refraction maths.
Say I do say it's theoretically possible.
then I
What's
laugh
your
at you.
opinion on that? Do you
I just laugh. I just laugh and think you're stupid. That's what I do. That's what I did with Paul.
Nathan, I'm asking your opinion on that. Do you think it's not theoretically possible?
I think it's theoretically possible if you have a presupposition that we live on a sphere.
No, forget the presupposition.
You can't. That's the point. I know you're not. You're saying you're not scientifically minded, Lottie, but you can't forget the presupposition that you're on a ball. If you do, you're essentially looking at a flat Earth observation, aren't you? In order to say that it's refracting around an Earth curve that isn't there, you first have to presuppose that there is an Earth curve. Now we don't see an Earth curve. There isn't one there, but you have to presuppose it if you think you live on a ball. Therefore, you've got to talk your way around the fact that there isn't one there. So to talk your way around it, you've got to accept that it's looming a quarter of a mile above the Earth curve that isn't there. The whole thing's ridiculous. But you can accept that, in theory, if you want to, while I laugh at you.
So I'm asking you a question. Why don't you accept it? What is it? What proof or on what basis do you not accept this information?
Very good question.
Why do you discount it?
Because there's a very simple observational explanation for the photograph. We see it because it's there.
And that's not what I asked. I asked you a question. Why do you deny that we could theoretically see our own backside, as you like?
I don't deny that.
Why do you say?
I don't deny that theory. I just don't accept that's our world. I don't accept that it is our world. The theoretical possibility of seeing your own arse on a sphere is meaningless to somebody who doesn't accept that they live on a sphere. If you accept that you live on a sphere and want to accept that you can see your own arse because that's the explanation needed to see that island when there's no Earth curve blocking your view, then you accept it all you like. That's your choice. I don't accept it because the evidence completely contradicts it. We see it. That's it. There's no Earth curve blocking our way. That's it. End of story. Clear day, longer view. End of story. You want to make up all sorts of maths for refraction, bringing things back behind Earth curves that aren't there, that's your bag.
Well, if you don't understand the maths, then...
I do understand the maths. I've had it explained. I do, and you don't understand it. That's why you're saying you're not scientific. I understand it.
No, but you definitely
Yes,
don't.
I do. That's why we can make jokes about seeing your own arse, because we understand the maths. We can extrapolate it further.
No, Nathan, honestly, it's because you don't understand
No, it's because we understand it, Lottie. That's why we can make the jokes we do. If we couldn't extrapolate the maths out further... If we couldn't extrapolate what was explained, theoretically, we couldn't have extrapolated it out to the joke that says you can see your own arse and have them agree. That's because we understand it and comprehend it, Lottie, not because we don't understand it. You don't understand it, and there's plenty of other people on the panel that don't.
Presentation for you, so it could include crayons and shapes, but I think he's made it very easy for you to understand. Now, I agree that you probably will still deny it, or even still not understand.
What am I denying, Lottie? First of all, tell me what I'm denying. Tell me what you think I'm denying.
I didn't say you are denying something. I said you will. So it's future. I'm talking in the future. When the Rumpus brings this retard-proof presentation for you, which I think he said he was going to do, and hopefully he does, he will work through it for you, and it should be very, very easy. Now, this is where I say you will deny it. So I'm saying in the future.
So what you're saying is you put your entire trust in your faith that we live on a sphere based on a mathematical explanation that Rumpus is going to give. My God.
No, Nathan. That's why. What are you doing? Why are you creating strawmans? On this individual situation, the Rumpus is going to bring a presentation which addresses this individual situation. And that's the maths that I'm saying you should look into. And it will be, should be easy enough for you to understand.
No, what he will do is present maths using the presupposition that he lives on a sphere. Thank you to Infinite Refraction Society for the super chat. But his presuppositional argument, you don't understand. You've already explained to the audience in this conversation that you don't get that. You don't think it's a presupposition. You're saying, why don't you understand the theory? The maths explains it, which means that you understand nothing.
Well, I'm going to smoke a wake and bake so I can make this interesting. I think we should do some more shout outs to the people, Nathan, so we can get them in the chat. Get this exciting. Get this rocking and rolling. Thanks for the 100 Nokias. Infinite refraction.
100 Nokias. Krona.
The return of Flat Earth come Teeth King. Oh, okay. Nope. That's a no-no on the shout-outs. Ambessa. Nathan, I will no, don't bother emailing Nathan. Pointless. The time. Shout out to John Watson, always being creepy as usual in chat, making no sense. Again, another shout out to the Hyena Clan. Shout out to baby Eleanor, knowing the Earth's a globe.
She says hello.
Oh, shout out to Nick. I like Nick. Going places in life. Smart young man. Probably be here for a couple of months and then he'll be off. Changing the world. Whilst we're here arguing with absolute knuckleheads. Hope he comes back to visit us in a couple of years and tells us how successful he is. Very smart young kid. Shout out, I'm Rick. Probably not awake.
You are on the air,
Hopefully
Anthony Riley. You've called me on Skype, but I'm currently broadcasting, just so you know. If you don't want to be on air, just drop the call.
No, I'm good. I didn't think you'd be on this morning. I had a line.
Oh, right. No, as soon as I woke up and saw that I had 1,000 subscribers, I was like, right, immediately make the super chat work and do it again.
You ordered pizza.
I was like, woohoo, I can do my videos.
Oh.
Come on, stop touching the touchscreen. Come on. Don't be naughty.
Right, let me work out where this is then. What so you're on the other Nathan Oakley channel then?
It's Nathan Space Oakley.
Right, okay. I'll find that and I can see the chat.
Subscribe today.
I have done. I did it last night. So does that fix everything now then? What about the self-sniping thing? Have you sorted that?
Not yet, but I have got a solution for it. I just haven't implemented it. Don't bite my toe! What are you doing biting me?
Oh, you've been live for 27 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Posted your tape measure, by the way.
Knock 100. Oh, have you? Nice one. Knock 100.
Norwegian
What's 100
krona.
knock? How does that work out?
Norwegian krona. About
worth
£5 English. $6, $7, something like that.
What we need to do is let's find out. Do Isle of Man have their own currency, or do they use the pound? Isle of Man currency, because you should get everyone to donating Isle of Man currency.
What? It's a pound.
Is it?
Isle of Man pounds, like Scottish pounds. It's £1 to the pound.
Oh, is it? Oh, right, okay.
And also equally stupid suggestion, Riley.
Where are you from, Lottie? What part of the world are you from? Oh, he's gone silent.
No, I was just eating. I'm sorry. I'm in Cardiff.
Oh, cool.
I spent a lot of time. I was brought up in Leeds.
That explains a lot.
Leeds is right. So you're by Martin then?
Sleeping Warrior, I'll accept that as northern banter, so it's okay.
I was on about the Cardiff bit. The Leeds bit's all right, but the Cardiff bit makes. Do you know what? I went to in a former life when I did a different job for a living. I used to work for Hovis, you know, the bread company, and driving one of their trucks. I was in northern Wales, and I'd been to Tesco and I was looking for Asda, or I'd been to Asda and I was looking for Tesco, whichever it was. And I came to the T-junction, just coming out of Asda, whichever supermarket it was, and I had to either turn left or right. And if I turned left, you can bet your bottom dollar it would have been I needed to turn right. But if you turn right, you can bet your bottom dollar I needed to turn left. So I pops my head out the window and I says to this woman that was walking past, I said, "Excuse me." I said, "Which way's Tesco?" Or Asda, whichever it was. And she looked at me and she went, "Are you English?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah." And she just literally turned her head and walked away and didn't even tell me which way it was. And I was like, have I just been discriminated against because I'm English? I believe I have.
I love that woman. That woman. I love that woman.
Bizarre. She was so racist, it was unreal.
I'll give you directions based on where you're from. I like that.
Yeah. Mind you, it could have been worse. You could have sent me deliberately the wrong way, but at least you gave me a 50-50 chance.
That's like trolling in real life.
Yeah.
I like it.
I was gobsmacked. Literally, there were no words for that moment. I was like, "Oh my god, I've just been discriminated against because I'm English. How dare she?"
It's like that in France. That's what you get in France. If you don't speak French, they don't want to talk to you. Not everywhere, but a lot of places.
I don't blame them. When in France, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Unless you're in England, in which case you can do what you want. Have we got anything? Right, hang on. I found the live chat before. There it is. Pop that out. Do we have anything contentious to discuss yet? I know what I can ask.
There is something slightly contentious. So Lottie's under the impression that we don't understand the maths, which is why we haven't accepted Ranty's explanation. Not Ranty, sorry, Rumpus.
Understand? No, we understand the evidence, and we don't care about the maths. It's what the evidence shows us, and we can see that there is land there. So it really isn't about maths. It's more about empirical evidence.
All trolling aside, what do you mean you don't care about the maths? You know, maths is a descriptive language. Why would you not care about that? Okay, my opinion into the question is you're dismissing maths because it goes against everything that you want to believe.
No, it goes against the evidence. Right, this is why I dismissed the maths. Lottie, if you've got 2 ice creams and I've got 2 ice creams, how many ice creams are there? How many ice creams are there? If you've got 2 and I've got 2, how many ice creams are there?
If I have 2 ice creams, I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't know how you've baited me. This is fantastic. If I've got 2 ice creams and you've got 2 ice creams, there are 4 ice creams.
No, there's not. There's no ice
Did you not
creams,
hear the
Lottie.
beginning bit of that, Lottie? So the beginning part of what he said was if.
Yeah.
That's the presupposition. That's what I'm saying. You don't understand a presuppositional argument, you moron.
Are you really? If you say to okay, if I have a 12-inch penis, then that means I have a 12-inch penis.
You don't, do you? Because your argument saying if I have presupposes that you do.
I haven't finished. Hold on a second. If we're saying if something's happened, then yes, I agree. We're both presupposing that is true. So we're both saying that I have 2 ice creams and Fathead has 2 ice creams. We're agreeing. So there are 4 ice creams.
Yes, in theory, there's 4 ice creams, but in reality, there's no ice creams. Because you've presupposed that you had 4 doesn't mean that 4 ice creams magically appear. In the same way as if you presuppose that you're on a ball when you give an explanation and then say at the end, that means we're on a ball, that's a presuppositional argument.
But the thing is, though, Lottie, you're not the only one that would say 4.
Agreeing on the presupposition. The presupposition is prefixed within a statement. So why would I even tend to... I wouldn't argue against that. We are agreeing for the sake of argument that we both have 2 ice creams.
No, we're not agreeing that. It starts with the word if.
So if I have 2... Right, okay, Riley. If I have 2 if I have 2 ice creams, how many ice creams have I got?
None. Because if the reality is you have none, then you have none.
You have now been upgraded to knucklehead. You're knucklehead, and Ranty is now fathead. Well done.
Listen, you're not the only one. All the ballers have to do what you're doing. They all have to come out with 4.
You're an idiot.
Because it relies on the word
Riley,
if.
You're an idiot. You're an argumentative, semantical
but I've got
idiot.
No ice cream,
and everybody
it doesn't matter how many times you say if you got 2 or 1 or 6. The answer is I haven't got any ice creams. So the answer is always 0, evidently. However, if I have a wallet with £100
in there, how much is in my wallet? The answer is £100.
Sorry, I spoke over you. What did you say? If what?
If we say if within an argument we use the word if, we are presupposing that that's true. So there's no point starting a new argument that's saying, well, technically it's not, because the whole argument is then void. There's no point having this discussion if we're going to argue against semantics.
Let's put it in a slightly different way.
Whether we have the actual ice creams. We are,
anyway,
like
hold
said,
on. We've been joined by someone much more important. Hold on. We've been joined by Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Yeah, I'm going good. I'm good, thanks. I've got something to present. I can't stay long because I've got other commitments.
Get straight into it, mate. I'll stick your screen straight on. Go for it. Go for your life.
Yeah, hang on. I'll just get it up on the screen. Okay. Okay. The first thing I want to do is go to this screen, and we can see in this screen that this is the position that Anthony stood. You can see the first of those caravans there, and the second one presumably is a bit further back. That's the first thing that I wanted to show. So we're agreed that Anthony's standing on the path around about there. Okay. So I'm going to get out of that, and I'm going to go to another page. I found this to be a very useful little thing. This is actually from the Ordnance survey map site. You can actually get a 7-day free trial, and it allows you to explore the maps, and they're really good because down here in the bottom here I can get different layers up. So I can go to the aerial view layer, and I can see that here's the first caravan, the second caravan, the third caravan, etc. And what I can do, I can see that little black cross there? I can use that to position the center of the map in any place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position that cross as carefully as I can over the pathway about there. Would you agree that that's roughly on that pathway there? Yeah? I know it's very hard to see there, so I'm just going to move it again. So I'm positioning that cross right on that pathway there. Which is kind of where we think that Anthony might have stood for that first shot there when he's taking the video of the caravans there, and he's about to run down the path. This is where he swings out to the Isle of Man and takes the video, and then he runs down the pathway. So what I can then do is I can explore the different layers of these maps. I can go for a standard map, which looks like this, and you notice that the little cross, you can see it quite clearly here now, and it's on the pathway there. Okay. Sure. Now we've got contour lines here, but this part of the map doesn't show the values of those contour lines. But I just want to explore these maps a bit, so we can go to a National Park Pathways map, and once again the little cross shows us on the pathway there. We can go to a different map here, and once again the little cross shows us on the pathway. So the maps aren't shifting as I go from the different maps to the different maps. What I'm going to do now is go down to this one down here, which is the Ordnance Survey Leisure Map. Okay, so this is a map that's actually done by the Ordnance Survey. So you can imagine that this would be a trustworthy map. Okay, and when I click on this map, it brings up this. This is not a Girl Guides map. It's the Ordnance Survey Leisure Map. Okay, it's accurate. Okay, now the features that we can see on this map, there's the golf course. You know, I'm not positioning Anthony at the golf course because the cross is back here. That's where the cross is. So I'm not positioning Anthony at the golf course, which is way over here. But the key features are that here you see a circle, there's a dot, and it's got 33 next to it. What that means is that dot is the highest point of this part, and it's at 33 metres. The next contour line out is at 30 metres. The next contour line out is 20 metres, and the next contour line out from that is 10 metres. And you can see that matches up because there's the 10 for the 10 metre contour line. Right, so let's go this direction. So we've got the 30 metre contour line, we've got the 20 metre contour line, and we'll follow that 20 metre contour line around. And when we find that that 20 metre contour line comes back around this direction here, goes up the pathway, right, and it comes down along here and then winds its way around back here. So the 20 metre contour line goes here and around this point here. And this is the point that Anthony took that video shot from of the island of St. Bees. So we can clearly see that he's standing within the 20 metre contour line. So he's immediately already above 20 metres. We could surmise that because he's a little bit inside that,
looks like he's on the line
21 metres.
Sorry
right?
to be, this is me being a little bit pedantic, Paul, but is he not on the line as opposed to inside the contour?
Well, the contour line, it's a bit indistinct here, but it goes around. If you look carefully, it goes around here and it goes where the tip of my arrow goes.
Give me a second. I'm just going to stand up and have a look at my screen.
Actually,
give me a sec.
Yeah, he actually is standing inside that contour line. Okay?
But
it goes around him here. Paul? Yeah? It goes around him here. So immediately we know that Anthony is standing above the 20 metre line.
Yes, he is inside it. You're right, sorry.
if you add another meter for his tripod, I'm not even going to argue about the tides. We'll talk about that another time. But immediately he's above 21 meters, or at least above 20 meters. I can guarantee that because the contour line goes around him. Okay, so he has to be above 20 meters, and that immediately puts him at around 65 feet, which is quite different from 35 feet. Okay,
Paul, would you agree?
Anthony,
would you agree that the line is indicating that I would be on a flat plane at 25 meters?
No,
and it's clearly
I would say that this Ordnance survey map indicates that this elevation, according to the national standards, shows your elevation here to be at where? Above 20 meters. Where does the Ordnance survey take its 0 meter level from? Mean sea level. And where is the mean sea level line? The mean sea level line is the blue line along here.
Where does Google take its position from?
So that means 20 meters above this blue line.
That's wrong.
Okay.
That's mean high tide, not
it's
mean
not
sea level.
wrong because this is the mean sea level line.
No, I don't think it is.
It seems to say mean high tide. Can you just scroll down?
Sea level.
No,
that is not high tide.
Can you see what it says? We just can't see it on our screen. Sorry, Paul. Can you just scroll down a bit just so we can see what mean high the next word is?
It means I'll shift my thing, but it means mean. Oh, sorry. You're right. That's mean high water. This is mean sea level down here. Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. So it is above. It is above 20 meters. Okay?
Sure. What does it say, just out of interest? What does it say if you put the X on the mean high tide level, what does it say that is in height, Paul? What does it say the mean high, just out of interest, what's the mean, if you put the X on the mean high water, what does it say the height of that is?
No, this doesn't tell you what the height is. You have to get the contour
Gotcha.
lines.
I thought that was going to be your answer.
But the point is,
there's a thing in the bottom right corner that says 100 meters, 200 feet, but presumably that's just a scale or something.
No. What it means, the Ordnance survey takes its heights above mean sea level. Now, if that's the mean high water and this is the mean low tide, then what that means is that mean sea level is somewhere in between these two lines. Okay? And so what that means is we're 20 meters or more above mean sea level.
I think you misread that,
there's
Paul.
the mean low water.
The lower
there's
blue line.
The mean high water. In between is mean sea level. That's where land elevations are taken from mean sea level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
that's a well-known fact. So what we're saying here is that according to the Ordnance survey map, which is the most reliable maps that we can get for Britain, okay, it's telling you that your elevation where you were standing there is above 20 meters, above mean sea level.
Very cool.
And
anything else to add to that, Paul?
Arguable. So, okay.
I just wanted to know if that was the end. That was all.
Be arguing about the height anymore. It is at least 65 feet. I would say more when you take into account low tide and the elevation of your tripod.
But in any event, Paul, the point that you've just reasserted is that Google Earth doesn't match the Ordnance survey map.
That's right.
Fine.
And we know that Google Earth is not accurate. They don't claim to be accurate. They expressly say that.
Right. But it's still your model.
Ordnance
and
survey
for the purposes of the observations we're doing, that's what's being applied, your model. So it doesn't really matter.
People rely on it.
But in any event, Paul, I would still challenge it on the basis that the line appears to follow the path. And the path, therefore, must be at the same elevation.
The path does follow the path, but you are at least 20 meters.
However, Paul,
and 20 meters is significantly different than 35 feet, Anthony. And further up the hill, the path comes along here. You can see that further up the hill, the path goes between the 30 meter and the 20 meter contour line. So it's somewhere between 20 and 30 meters further up the hill. So I think we need to agree that it is at least 20 meters above mean sea level. And then you have to take into account your tripod height and your viewing height and you also have to make an adjustment for sea level, which I'm not really going to contest right now or talk about. But I do think that this map demonstrates that you are at least above 20 metres above mean sea level. And I don't think you can really argue about that here, because the Ordnance Survey maps
what
are
I can
accurate.
argue, Paul, is
Google
that your
Earth
line
is
on your
not
map may be dead accurate for your purposes. However, it shows that it will be a flat line. And my photograph on screen now shows that it's clearly a hill
Fuck
going
niggers,
up.
fuck the Jews, kill all
I would
niggers,
ask,
fuck the Jews.
what is the accuracy of the map when we see it's clearly a shallow hill going up, and it couldn't be a straight line the way your map shows?
No, don't start talking nonsense, Anthony. These contour lines are all, everywhere around that 20-metre contour line, it's at an elevation of 20 metres.
Yeah, but look,
okay,
if
that
the line
is
follows
what
the map,
Ordnance
which
Survey have
that
measured
means it can't
and
be
surveyed.
anything other than a straight line, and we can
Don't
see by
start
the
talking
evidence
nonsense
for
about
it's
straight
not a
lines and
straight
flat
line.
things. This contour line is at 20 metres. It shows that you are inside that contour, which means
So what
you
do
Right,
you
no
go
offence,
with?
Paul. Sorry, Paul, what I'm going to have to do,
Above
sorry
20
to interrupt you both, bear with me, Paul, is because you're in conversation and somebody's just joining to mute the Skype connection, and I'm just having to jump back and forth. So for the time being, what I'm going to have to do is just bring up Anthony's Skype screen. If you can just let him get to the end of his response, just so I don't have to, because as soon as he's muted, I'm just going to jump back off the photos again. So I'm going to transition back to so the audience gets to actually hear the response. I'm going to put that up. Once I get muted, I'll transition back. Just bear with me and try not to interrupt even if there's gaps.
All right, so what he's asking is let me finish and then I'll turn it off and then he can stop that screen being presented. So let me just finish my point and then we'll stop it and then you can respond. Paul, you were saying that the line at 25 metres appears to run alongside the path. And I agree, it appeared to run alongside the path. That would mean that the path would be at the elevation of 25 metres for the time that it's run alongside it. And if you're saying that that's a very accurate way of doing it, then it would conflict with this photograph, because you can clearly see that it's not at 25 metres because it starts higher at one side and in a short, maybe over 10 posts, it drops down by X amount of... That cannot be a constant, yet your map shows it as a constant. So what do? Do we accept the map with the constant value, or do we accept real world where we know it's not a constant value? I'm done now, so I'll knock this off and then Nathan can have respite.
They've kicked me out of that hangout, so I'm just going to start another one. Just give me a couple of seconds.
Oh. Okay. Orange juice. Moo, come here. Can you not take it with you?
Yes, there will be a short intermission while I do this. Okay, so I've started the new hangout, just paste the link into the info box, and then we should be ready to go again once we get a few new guests in. Let's see if they've figured out that I've been removed from that call. Are you free this afternoon, by the way, Anthony?
Yes.
Great, because I need someone else's help to help me implement that thing. Okay, so if I put the link into the chat screen, hopefully the guests from the other hangout will see it and join.
Is it something that's quick and easy to do, or is it?
Seems to be fairly easy.
And Jeremy sorted this for you. Did he approach
Yeah,
you?
I
Or did you
contacted
approach
Jeremy.
him?
Hangout's working, somebody just joined and then dropped.
That means we'll all get snagged straight away. Right, why don't you just invite Lottie back in? No,
There's
you
Lottie.
can't.
I mean, it may be
Were you
that it was,
sniped again?
yeah, unfortunately I can be sniped until probably later this afternoon when I figure out that workaround and actually implement it, but this may end up just being an hour show if I continually get sniped.
How come they can do it on this channel but not on the other one?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, but I do know how to do the workaround.
Nathan, quickly whilst we're not live, Timothy Osmond did offer to help you with that yesterday.
We are live.
And I know you spoke about it with Riley yesterday, saying that you should speak to him, but he's already given you the offer. He said as an olive branch, he'll tell you how it's done, and you can maybe avoid it happening in the future.
Sure. How you doing, Mike? He did actually explain that he could get me into the
Again,
back
you're
chat.
autistic. Fuck you. Fuck you. Go.
So yeah, I mean, Tim Osman, very kind of him. He has helped me with other things, and I have paid attention to him. So he did give me some advice on how to get the stream to be a less jerky for the audience, and I was very grateful to him.
Yeah, well, he did offer to help you on this matter as well. You should probably speak to him because I think he is quite proficient on Google Hangouts.
Yeah, as I say, he wants to get me into the back chat, and the way to stop this problem is to be out of the back chat. But there we go.
No, I don't think it is, because we get
I think
sniped
maybe
outside of the back chat.
I'm sure he
I
offered to speak to you off air as well, Nathan. He said yesterday during your morning hangout, I think.
I think he's right, actually, because we all get sniped when we're not in the back chat. We only get sniped from the back chat. So I don't think going in there has anything to do with getting sniped. I think it's just the control that's in the back chat that allows you to get sniped.
Correct.
I think you should listen to him and just listen to what he says.
But as I say, I think I've already got a solution. If that fails, then yes, I will go to Tim Osman and ask him for his help. But so far, I've got a solution. If that doesn't work, then yeah, I'll be cap in hand to Tim Osman, believe me, because I want to keep the show running, and I think he does too. How you doing, Mike? Can you hear us? Have you made your coffee yet? Maybe not.
Right, I'm just going to that Mbessa channel from last night. He's in the chat now, so I've just added and subscribed and bell notified to him. And I'm now going to send him a message, I think. Oh, no, I can't.
Joshy's a real person. How you doing, Joshy? Can you hear us, Joshy? No. Yeah, as I say, it's fine for no disrespect to you guys, but if the guests get sniped out and they're my friend, I'll bring them back in on Skype. Other than that, you know, as long as I can remain in the call, people can continue to join and it can continue to be broadcast. Whereas if I get sniped out, that's the end of the show. Hence, this one might end up only lasting an hour.
I know, but if you get sniped out the hangout...
Hello, I have proof that the Earth is flat. New evidence.
What's your evidence, Jacob?
Well, hi. My name's Jacob, and I've been looking along various forums for the past few years, and there's evidence that the Earth is flat. Okay, so what you do is a plane, okay, doesn't dip its nose when it's flying.
Yep.
So if it was round, it would have to dip its nose. Do you understand?
Yeah, I agree.
Those, yeah. So basically, the Jews, they have a big spaceship on the moon where they kill all the Negroes, and it's pretty cool. I've seen it, actually.
That's good to know.
It's pretty cool. I've seen it.
Nathan, it was the same guy that just came in about 2 seconds ago. How did you not know that?
Yeah, but you still
might
want
not
to give
be
these people a
watching.
chance. Everyone's welcome here, Lottie. So if he wants to say something, and that's what he wanted to say, he's had his opportunity to say it, which is reasonable. All are welcome.
That's why you're here, Lottie. You're in that category of all.
Well, he made more sense than you ever do anyway, Riley, so...
There you
that's a
go. So
bonus.
it was worth having him speak. It resonated with you, Lottie. Hopefully he'll join again. By letting him speak and not just immediately kicking him, hopefully he'll realise that if he does come and he does have some real opinions, that he can present them. Some people just want to get over the fear of actually getting into the Hangout for the first time, because it is daunting, and trolling is sort of much easier.
Stop kicking me. I have opinions too.
Yes, but you're talking about spaceships on the moon and Negroes, so, you know, that's just nonsense, and I think the audience appreciates that.
And it doesn't really have a lot to do with the shape of the Earth.
Yeah. But it was funny.
It was...
Paul Veit's still in the chat. So thank you for your presentation, Paul. Really appreciated it. And you were right, he does sit inside that contour line on that map.
Yeah, but what do you think about my response back to it? That the contour line must be of the same value, and that appears to follow the path. Yet the evidence shows that it clearly goes down. What did you think?
Again, like with everything, I trust the evidence that over that map. You know,
Yeah.
You've got a photo of you on that cliff.
That's my position. You have to go with the evidence. You can't go with the map, because if the map puts a line there saying it's 25 meters or whatever, and then it proves or shows that it's a constant because by virtue of the line itself, and it clearly can't be a constant if you see evidence showing that it's a hill.
Hi.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just a line on a map.
Yeah. No, Ranty, I used evidence in his video to locate where he stood. Took you a while to start using the evidence though, Paul. Rumpus is the best one for not using the evidence, but Paul does at least try and use the evidence. I'll give him that much. Oh, and by the way, Paul, I don't know if you heard, but when Lewis was on that morning show, or for you it was the late show where he was just totally disrupting it completely. That was the show when I was going to get out. That's the show when I was going to concede that my assertion that there might have been a superior mirage of the water being above the actual water level, and you said, well, what about this boat? That's where I was going to concede that, but because Lewis being a Burke that show and ruined that show, I never got a chance to concede the point to you. I did concede it afterwards. I did concede it afterwards, not to you, but I just wanted to let you know that I'd conceded it because you'd presented evidence based on the evidence, but I couldn't because Lewis was ruining it.
I will bring up his point from the chat though. So he's trying to explain that the parallax shown, I can't remember who presented the video, but someone showed a video, I think it might have been Steve Anthony, and it showed parallax with the oil rig.
I've seen the blink test, and I said to Paul at the time, I said I may not have been in the exact same bladed place because I did three observations at three different elevations, and I don't remember exactly which nuke I was stood on. I'll give them that I was a little bit further up or a little bit further down to support the parallax. I've never stood my ground with exactly where I was, only for the fact that the one that I can prove, which is right next to the caravans, is exactly where I said it was. But I've also conceded that I'm prepared to give them right up to the very top of that hill. The highest point is 52 feet on Google Earth, because we're testing does your model do what your model says it does. Now, if you're going to argue the Ordnance survey points, then it means we're only testing your own model. And yes, Jem, 3 observations now. Remember, I went up to the top to see Blackpool Tower and couldn't see it. So I then started working my way down and seeing what I could see.
You know how Google accounts for curvature? Does the Ordnance survey map account for curvature?
I don't know.
Because if not, what we have is the globe represented on Google Earth failing and being inaccurate, and then if it doesn't account for curvature on an Ordnance survey map, we essentially have a flat Earth map that's, according to Paul, accurate.
Notice how Gem Panda in chat now is distancing himself from Google Earth is not our model. Of course it is, Gem. It is your model.
Exactly, it is their model.
Google Earth is not our model. Of course it is, Gem. It
yeah.
is your model.
Exactly, it is their model.
Yeah, and it's so accurate as well because of GPS. I mean, how many times have we heard that? WGS84, the globe is true, man. All right. So when we actually find like a bit of an issue with it, it's all of a sudden not your model. Isn't that so typical of dishonest ballers? Google Earth is an application. Yes. A map is a piece of paper. A globe is a ball. You know how Google accounts for curvature. Well, actually, if I was a baller, I would argue that it accounts for the curvature being constant rate to the radius so that it would effectively be flat. So the flat map would be inclusive of the curve. We will give you P900 observations from Derby Haven to the point of air.
They've even sniped Lottie out.
They're just trying to stop the show because it's... I don't know. They don't... They're doing what trolls do. They're trying to disrupt and destroy. That's what they're trying to do. Riley, you were shown evidence that Google Earth does not claim its elevations are correct. Why are you lying again? You lied about your height. No, Paul, I just applied what it said on Google Earth.
Why is
That's
it wrong
what
with the height?
everybody would do, Paul.
Why? Would that not be, as we're looking at curvature, wouldn't that be the one thing you'd want it to be accurate on, as it's the representation of the curved Earth? Would that not make sense?
Hello, sexy ladies.
Hello there, how you doing?
I don't know, mate. I just got home from the garage, yeah, put a new exhaust on my car, but it cost me £300, fam.
For what?
£300?
Exhaust
Where
on
are
my
you from?
car, £300.
Where are you from? You sound northern.
I'm from England.
Yeah. Northern. I know you sound northern England. Where are you from?
I don't sound northern. I'm from the south.
Oh right, okay. It sounded Yorkshire way for a minute.
What did you have to spend
Nah,
£300 on?
I'm in Kent.
£300
K-E-N-T.
on an exhaust. What kind of car have you got?
I've got a Corsa. I just put a normal exhaust on it, yeah, because my last one fell off.
Very shape of the Earth related. Thank you.
Yeah,
Got
I
you
know.
300 quid.
Nah,
300
it's
quid on
like,
it on
nah,
a Corsa
basically, yeah, you
exhaust.
know, exhausts, yeah, they're round, aren't they? So I was like, oh, nah, it's fucking Earth, innit? Earth is
No,
round.
Don't swear. No need.
Wow! I'm so fucking smart. Oh my god, I'm leaving. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay.
I knew
All
he
are
was- I knew he
welcome
was
still,
li- I
but
knew-
try and
I
keep
knew
it
he
shape
was
of the
lying
Earth
when he-
related. Yeah, I
knew
think
he
you're right.
was
There's
lying
just
when he
lots
said
of
he spent
disruption.
300 quid on an exhaust for a Corsa.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, says Vinegar Strokes. Yeah, I agree. Thank you for that. Really nice to know that you've got your exhaust fixed. Meanwhile, we have a picture of Earth with no curvature, which very few people want to challenge other than to say their model's broken and that's why elevations aren't matching up with what we should see of the theoretical curve that should be behind a quarter of a mile of Earth curve but isn't. But this is where we've got to. We're into the realms of total farce, and I think it's becoming obvious to the audience. That's probably why they don't want it spoken, because the more ridiculous it gets, I mean, when it gets to the point that we're showing it's Ireland, I mean, the explanations are going to get beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. And Paul's comment here, I lied because it would have been obvious that the height was much greater than 35 feet. Right. I don't know, Paul, about you, but I have no experience whatsoever in judging the height of land from my own view level, which is why Nathan put the video up yesterday saying how high 35 feet was. That climbing wall is consistent with the height that I was at the base on the picture. In fact, do you want to put it up, Nath? Is it too much hassle?
Oi, I'm back here. I'm not talking about my Corsa exhaust this time, though, yeah?
300
being
quid.
legit.
Yeah.
You got me,
We're
yeah?
calling you out on that one. Can we see the invoice?
You ever been
please?
on a plane, yeah?
Can we see the
Just don't
invoice for your
swear.
£300 exhaust?
You ever been on a plane, yeah?
Can we see the invoice for your £300 exhaust?
Do you
I've been
actually
on a
want to see
plane.
the invoice?
I've been on a
I can
plane
show you the
loads of
invoice
times.
if you want.
I watched
Jonathan,
I'll play
Nathan,
ball. I'll play
Nathan.
ball.
Nathan, I think you might have to add me on Skype, mate. I keep getting sniped.
Lottie, you're not going to get in on Skype. You
Oh
do
boy,
realise.
I'm
Your
going
name's
to
not
bite.
Nathan.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I've been on a plane,
sorry,
oh boy.
brother,
What's your
name's
point?
not Nathan.
What's your
Do you
point,
want to
oh
see
boy?
the invoice?
Yeah, I want to see that somebody has spent 300 quid on an exhaust for a Corsa.
Right, you wait there. I'll literally get it right now. Give me 2 seconds. It's downstairs.
Go on, then. This is cool.
It's not
I
cool.
hope he hasn't
This
spent
is
300 quid
tedious.
on an exhaust.
Anyway, good to have you back, Lottie. But yeah, it is getting more and more ridiculous. The more we look at this picture and the more people try and rip it to pieces, the more we'll point out the missing quarter of a mile of Earth curve. And the more ridiculous the answers get, the more we'll laugh at them.
Nick says, Google Earth debunked. It's not accurate to the nearest micrometer. Well, actually, Nick, it's about...
All right, hello,
it's
I'm back, yeah? Wait there, let me turn
Go
my
on,
webcam on.
Turn your webcam on and let's have a look.
Yeah. Let me just find it. Hold up. I don't want to leak anything because it's got my card and shit on it, innit? And my
Just
name
show the
and that.
value at the bottom.
Nah,
You know, don't
my name
hide
is
it.
fair.
Don't show any of the details. How new is your Corsa?
2007, boy.
£300
Right,
for an
my
exhaust.
camera on it.
Is it
That's
made
my
of gold?
20 chicken nuggets, boy.
Hang on.
Are you
Is
ready,
it
yeah?
is it an original equipment one or is it an aftermarket one?
Nah, straight up, it's a stock one, isn't it?
£300.
It's a stock one. Any
Legit. I was out on New Year's Eve and it fell off. My like buddy, what's it called? My exhaust fell off. Yeah.
I was out drinking with my fam and they were like, yo, blood, you don't know how it is. Any
You don't
Do you not
understand.
feel as though
You don't understand.
Do you not-
It fell off. So I was driving around
did
with no
that
exhaust and it was very loud. Alright, wait there, yeah. I've got the invoice right here. You ready?
How you doing,
Yeah,
Rick?
yeah, I'm dying to see this.
Let me just fold it up so you can't see anything. I don't think that shows anything. It's all good.
Oh boy, I've got a question for you.
Hello.
Does the thing go?
Yeah, it does.
Can you hear us, the rig?
That's right.
Can you say hello? How you doing, the rig?
Look, here we go.
Nice.
Is it flipped or not? I don't know. Can you, it's upside. Is that upside down?
I can't see it.
I don't know. Can you not see my webcam?
Bear with me a second. How you doing, the rig? Can you just say another hello?
How you going?
Good to have you.
No worries.
Nah,
The
legit
rig's
though,
got,
about the flat Earth. Yeah. You ever been on a plane?
Yes.
Fam, you seen the Earth's curve? What are you on about?
No, you don't.
Have you seen it?
What are you on about then?
Yeah, I used to be an
legit,
international
on a
rep. I've
plane
travelled
before.
all over
It's
the
all
world
curved.
on planes. I used to do it daily. And yeah, it's not curved. It's completely flat as far as the eye can see from every single vantage point I've ever
Fam,
seen.
you're
ever.
blind. You're blind.
No, I'm not
You got a
blind.
migraine or something making your eyes blurry.
Yeah, it's flat as a pancake from a plane. And not only is it flat as a pancake as a flat earther, it's flat as a pancake from the globe perspective as well. If you are a
My days.
intellectually honest or just not stupid globe head, you will concede that you cannot see Earth curve from 30,000 feet.
Wow.
So
To
if
be honest,
you are
I just
saying that
came
you
here
are
to talk
seeing
about my
curve,
exhaust, but I'm
you
genuinely
are quite
interested in
literally
knowing that.
delusional. You are delusional if you think you can see curve
not
from a
delusional.
commercial jet. You can't. No one can. Even if you think you're on a globe, you can't. Did
What
you
about
know
if you go on
that?
the moon, innit? Wait, do you believe in the moon or not?
Sorry, do you just want to
think the
answer my
moon's not
question?
real?
Did you understand that you and I, as a globehead and flat earther, neither of us can see curve from a commercial jet? Do you appreciate that?
I don't know, boy. I ain't been on a plane in like a year.
All right. So great example. Thanks.
I ain't got very good memory. Do you want to see
Yeah.
my exhaust then?
Yeah,
No.
go on. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I will
Can you see
reiterate,
is my webcam
just for
on
your
or not? I
benefit,
can
that
see it,
you
but
and
you're saying
I,
you
we
can't.
ain't seeing curve from an airplane. No one is ever.
Can you see my webcam?
Yeah.
No.
You're going to show us this
Nathan,
invoice
what-
for your
you got
exhaust
the
again?
slides on, Nathan.
How can you not see my webcam? It's
Yeah,
literally
the
turned
slides
on.
are
I can
staying up
see it.
because we're being trolled.
All right, he's
nothing
not putting it on
valuable
'cause
to
the slides are
show.
not on, but Nathan,
So-
can you just confirm what the value is on the bottom of the thing?
Go on then, hold up your receipt. Let's have a look.
Are you ready, yeah? Is it
Yeah,
upside
yeah.
down or not? It's not even focus, boy. Wait there. Come on, focus.
It's not quite focused. Hold
What
it
you
further
doing?
away. It's massive on my screen, even if it's further away.
It ain't
300
focusing.
Something or other. Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, there we go. It's not in focus, boy.
No idea what it's for, but yeah, cool. Very good. That's fascinating.
And then just show the item
£300 exhaust,
description.
fam.
Because what I want to know is, did that include a recovery, or was that like just for the exhaust and to be fitted?
Right, do you want me to read out what it says on the receipt?
Yeah, go on.
The exhaust goes.
All right, part number VX952, description Corsa 1.206 STP 167. Part number 2 VX953, Corsa 1.206 CP 156. I've dropped 300 on a fucking exhaust.
Yeah,
What you
what's
say?
That
up,
is a lot of
man?
money.
I wanna
No
talk
swearing.
about
Right,
these-
time to beat you out.
These
So-
globe
so the-
heads, man.
Has
Oh,
there
anyone
was no recovery?
ever spent £300 on an exhaust? No.
Right.
Screw that.
One last chance, oh boy. No swearing on this show.
No, he's not
I've
swearing.
never even
He's
sworn.
not swearing.
How you doing, Charlie?
I didn't hear him swear. Hi, what's up, man? What's up?
Good to have you.
Let's talk about this globe thing, because I don't think it's a globe. You know what I mean?
Me neither.
Me neither.
Right. So, like, first of all, isn't it like, I swear Jesus said something about the globe.
Jesus ain't real, fam. What are you on about?
Well, let's not get into that. Let's not get into that.
Shut up.
But didn't he say the world is flat because he parted the sea or something?
It's probably best you don't say stupid things if you come on here. We've got people on here to do that.
Oh, was that
What is the
Moses?
definition of stupid, fam?
don't really know how part in the... Is it the Red Sea? How that would translate
Oh,
to a
you've got
flat
the
Earth
webcam
proof.
on. What are you saying?
I don't
No,
understand
because
how
if
it
you part of the
translates
Red Sea,
into a flat Earth
right,
proof.
listen, bear with me.
I mean, I
you part
generally
of the
don't
Red
take
Sea-
Bible
Why is
proofs
the Red
anyway,
Sea
but
called the Red Sea when it ain't red? Tell me. Go.
That's true.
Why is it called curve when it ain't
See,
curve? Tell me.
That's a mind fuck right there.
no
Why is it
swearing.
called the Red Sea when it
Right,
ain't red?
that was your last chance, I'm
That's a
afraid.
good point. That's actually.
That's a
Oh,
fair
wait,
point.
Don't try and rejoin, oh boy, you're getting
you're
booted for
nah.
swearing because you can't stop swearing. Just don't try and rejoin. You're welcome back next show.
I don't think he swore.
Okay,
One
well,
sec.
it don't matter what you think.
No, I didn't hear him. Anyway, about this Google Maps. Don't you have a model? Don't you have a model that like shows the Earth being flat or something?
Model? No,
Yeah,
I don't have a
like
model.
like a image, because I want to see the proof in front of my eyes. You know what I mean?
How do you mean you want to see the proof? What do you want to see exactly?
What's your problem? Why are you kicking me, fam?
Keep swearing.
I want to.
What's the point in that?
Okay, I want to see like an actual flat Earth theory, like a would you call it a theory or like the truth?
I'd say that the Earth being flat is obvious and observable.
Yeah, I would agree.
Oh, like in the plane, like you can see it's flat. Is
Correct.
that what it is?
Yeah, that is actually my proof. When someone says, why do you say it's flat? I say because I've travelled all over the world, and from every vantage point in every plane I've ever been in ever, I've observed flat plane below me. Never a curved Earth.
I'm just confused by like how the sun works with that theory.
Good question.
Like in days, like how you can say about days and stuff. Like explain that, please.
Well, I would say, again, like being obvious and observable, the sun setting is as simple as me explaining it as it looks. The sun comes up, moves up across your field of view, and then sets.
Ah, I see. And then the moon comes from the other end and comes
No, it comes
up
from the same end.
across the earth. Ah, yeah. All right. So what about years then? How do years work? Like changing seasons and that?
Another good question. I mean, from what I can observe, when we are in summer, the sun is much higher over my vantage point.
How does the seasons change?
Yeah, I'm getting there. So when we're in summer, the sun is literally, from my observable vantage point, closer to me and here for longer. Whereas now, during the winter period, I can watch it rise much lower on the horizon, doesn't get anywhere near as high, doesn't stay anywhere near as long. It appears
so
to...
it moves closer on the vertical axis.
I'm not going to say it is closer because I don't know what the sun is, but I would say from my vantage point, it appears to be far closer in summer and here for longer in summer, which would suggest it's on a tighter rotation during summer than winter, and on a further rotation during winter.
Oh, that's
If the Earth is flat, how do you know how much it weighs? If the Earth is flat,
yeah, we don't know how it's weighed. That type of nonsense is a globe assertion.
I can
in terms
understand
of weighing Earth, the only people who claim to weigh Earth...
Just don't return on any spots, please. Thank you.
The reason the weight of the Earth is very relevant, is because that extrapolation from the Cavendish experiment gives us gravity. And that extrapolation gives us the weight of everything else in the solar system. And that extrapolation continues on into the current solar system existence that we all think we live in. Well, I don't. But that's come from Cavendish.
We don't live in a solar system.
Weighing the Earth. Literally, that was what that experiment was for. To determine the weight of the Earth. Me as a flat earther, I say to weigh the Earth is preposterous and stupid and could never be done.
And I agree.
Who is this oh boy guy?
So he's a guy that will be welcome back next show, but keeps swearing, so I've booted him.
I don't think he said fam. I don't... Is that a swear word?
Is this him again? Is that you,
He's sworn numerous times, dude.
No,
I'm sorry. I just want to talk about intellectual things. Basically,
it's the rig.
Basically, like movies have like shown the Earth to be round. Is that because they're trying to influence people?
Do you want to say that one, or do you want me to?
Nah,
Let's get a
like-
hashtag justice
I'll
for
take it.
host Lottie going in the chat.
Kim's
there,
got an
guys.
opinion on it.
Come
Thank you, Justice. I'll take that question.
Go, Lottie. Go.
Like-
Charlie, you're an idiot.
like Jenny
Charlie, you're an
Clayson
idiot. No,
over
stop, Charlie. I'm answering your question.
Have an
I'm
intergalactic
answering your question.
conversation.
Shut up, oh boy. Oh boy, shut up a second. Charlie, ask any more questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you were a movie producer, you would also be under the assumption that you're on a globe. So when you produce things with globes in them, it's not because you're trying to deceive anybody, it's just because that's the accepted understanding that everybody on the planet, in quotes, has. So you're not going to be creating those images thinking I'm deceiving somebody and perpetuating this deception of heliocentricity. Nobody's ever going to level that at anybody. I mean, there's a handful of people even in NASA, if you look in their control room, it's probably one guy, probably Capcom only, that knows the real deal. Other than that, everyone else is just looking at simulations that they've looked at 100 times. When the ships aren't being flown,
It's
they're
like the
looking at
belief in
simulations.
smoking. It's like the belief in
What about-
smoking in the
I've also
past.
got
It's
another-
changed.
Nathan, you shouldn't answer any questions. You're an idiot.
Thanks. I'll do as I please.
You got to give it to him, Nathan. Lottie's pretty funny.
He's
Where are
from
you looking at
Cardiff,
the
though.
rig, by the way? Very nice. I've got your screen shared.
Why you got so many dislikes on your stream, man?
I
People
got the
don't like
moon
finding
up
out the
early.
truth. People don't like to have their views challenged. And most people's view is that the Earth is a sphere. And we are categorically saying that is not the case. You've been lied to. No one wants to hear that.
Is it a political idea or a scientific idea?
You can look at it as either. That's right.
Has he gone?
No. Just stunned silence.
That's okay.
When's the next stream, guys? Because I'm gonna subscribe.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
You have a
Are
lot
you
of
gonna-
views at the
Are
moment.
you going to keep
I
up to
think
date,
you should be
date with
proud.
the flat Earth debate, though? That is the question.
Let's debate, okay? Because I believe in a round Earth because that's what my dad told me.
Fair enough. So do most people, and there's nothing wrong with believing
Like,
that you live on a
you're
globe.
like the minority of people, I think.
Well, we absolutely are the minority of people.
Yep.
I agree completely.
There are quite a lot of flat earthers around the globe, though.
Nice phrasing. Yeah. There are quite a few flat earthers around the plane.
That's the better word.
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry I offended you. You got 80
good.
people watching about the flat Earth. We need more people in here to debate because quite a lot of people believe in a circle Earth.
Well, there's a lot of people that could come in but keep getting sniped. So at the moment, he's just putting a show on just to keep the regularity. But once he gets around that sniping issue, then we can carry
What's
on with the
sniping
debate.
mean? What do you mean by sniping?
Then we'd be really interested in what your evidence for why you believe and accept that we live on a ball is. And if it's that your dad told you,
I
then
see. Yeah. My dad told me the Earth is round.
That's a perfectly acceptable answer.
have you ever challenged it to
Also-
see whether it's true?
Yeah, I've challenged it, and I thought, well, I was in a plane, and the Earth was a bit of a circle when I was in a plane.
You got bad eyes then.
No, he hasn't
You
got bad
pair of
eyes.
spectacles.
That's how your eyes work.
No, but I think it's because I believed in it. So I thought the Earth was a circle.
Your field of
Yeah, that-
vision presents you with a curve. So if you can see far enough and
I
you just
see,
look straight
I see.
ahead, it will appear just in your field of vision like you do have a curved horizon. That's an optical effect. But you've only got to turn your head. So the way I used to explain it to my family, this is going back a few years, it's an old example, I haven't had these sorts of conversations for a while, I'm not trying to be patronising. But if you're looking out the plane window and you see a curve dipping down to your left, that would mean that if you
Yeah.
carry on that curve and then look out the opposite window on the plane, that curve would have to continue down. But it doesn't. The horizon's the same level on both sides of the plane. So even though you think you can see a curve out your left
it's
or
because-
right when you look straight ahead out the window, that curve does not continue around to the
Also,
other side of the plane if you turn
plane
180
window
degrees.
is a curve.
The curve that you think you can see because your eyes are literally lenses.
Ah, right. Okay. So when you think it's flat, it's circle. It's actually flat. I see. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, but the way
The problem is, I don't understand because it also like, why don't we fly over Antarctica? That's the question.
Why haven't we what Antarctica?
Why don't we fly over Antarctica?
Some people say that we do.
Do we? Oh.
So they say. I mean, we have. I have interviewed a chap called Robert Shortman, and he spent about 18 months down in Antarctica, and he flew over it. That was one of the ways he got around. So I know it's not my personal experience, but from somebody who has told me firsthand that they have literally been in a plane and been offered by the pilot to fly it.
Wow.
I know people fly over Antarctica.
Amazing.
I don't know. I'm just pretty convinced.
Okay. Well, like, what do you think the Earth looks like? Like, how does it become flat?
I'm just going to say hello to Adam. I haven't seen him for a while, but very pleased to have him here. How are you doing, Adam?
I think he's AFK. How did the Earth go from being round to flat? I don't understand how it could.
Paul's maths.
Say hello.
How did it like
good to have you, Adam.
Turn into a flat Earth from around it? I don't understand.
Paul's maths. Apply a bit of maths and then it becomes a ball. Especially if you put in an apparent radius.
Surely we would have noticed if it became flat.
They say the curve is very, very slight, bro.
But it used to be round, right? And now it's flat.
What do you mean by round? It still is round.
The Earth is round.
Spherical.
Are you asking, has there actually been a physical change to Earth's shape? Is that your question?
Yeah. Because you're saying now it's flat, but people used to say it was round.
Gotcha. So Earth has never changed in terms of its physical shape, unless you want to try and convince me without it being falsifiable that it's a simulation, which is the only way I would concede this point. The Earth has not changed physically in any way, shape, or form. It's only in the last 500 years that we have been staunchly told that it's a sphere. Prior to that, people accepted that they lived on a flat plane. They also had the celestial sphere whilst on that flat plane. That was called the Ptolemaic system.
Okay. Well, people didn't used to believe in gravity, but now I believe in that.
Yes, so if you search for an experiment called the Cavendish experiment, that will give you your origins of gravity. The original experiment was designed to weigh the Earth, and based on that experiment, you can extrapolate out the weights of all the other planets, and that's where we get the sizes and densities of things like Jupiter and Mars and all that sort of stuff, is based on one single experiment called the Cavendish experiment. Now,
It says debunked right next to it when I search in Google.
Cavendish.
Right.
Balls
It says
in
Cavendish
a shed.
experiment debunked. What does that mean?
Yeah, just forget the opinions on the experiment and just try and find one that explains what the experiment is, and then decide for yourself whether or not you think that's practical. I'll give you a brief description of what happens. So there is a torsion beam, which is like a twisted beam that's suspended with two lead balls dangling in a shed, and their interactions with each other, pulling, will cause a slight movement on the inner balls below the torsion beam that can be visually seen. We're talking tiny, tiny, tiny amounts. And Cavendish essentially set up a telescope to look into this shed to see the observation of basically matter being pulled towards each other. So he is essentially measuring that things that have mass attract one another. Now, I would put it to you that things with mass do not attract one another.
Okay.
And do you know why he would put it to you that? Because when we try and repeat the experiment, it doesn't do it.
Why not?
Because it doesn't do it.
Is it a lie?
Yeah.
Because matter doesn't attract itself. Things, just because they have mass does not mean they will attract one another. That's what I would assert.
That's true. What about like going to space?
Got a new guest. Hold on 1 second. How you doing, Dippy?
Yo, I got a genuine question, yeah? Alright, legit, yeah?
Oh, who's this? Oh, why did they get kicked?
Again.
Same guy. I've kicked him for swearing, and he just keeps rejoining. You know, he can come back on the next show.
Maybe he wants to. Maybe he wants to say something legit, man.
He can say it on the next show.
No, but maybe he's got like no time because the next show is
Hashtag wrench Lottie. Hashtag justice for Lottie. Yeah.
I'll put that in the I don't care category because I don't care if he doesn't have enough
agree.
time. Once he's sworn, he's ejected and can't come back.
Shadows and things. I don't understand shadows. Like shadows, I thought that they could only work because we're on a round Earth. Like, how do you explain shadows?
I don't really. How do you explain shadows? Well, if you're talking about the sun, something blocks the light of the sun and causes a shadow. It doesn't. I don't really understand how that translates into flat or globe evidence.
You see, when you put sticks. In the ground,
okay. Aristophanes, fine. So what they say is that with sticks in the ground, you can measure that one shadow is non-existent, while another shadow is existent, if you want. I can't put up a drawing of it, but I'll try and verbally explain it. And this is explained by the Earth being presupposed to be a ball and the Sun being 93 million miles away, giving us this result. However, you can replicate the exact same experiment if you remove the presupposition that we're on a sphere and have a local sun that is close to us, and you get exactly the same result. You can even do it yourself with a lamp. So you just literally go find a lamp, stick 2 sticks in the ground, put one lamp above one stick, and you'll have a shadow from one and no shadow from the other. But that's because the light's close. You only have a far away light if you presuppose that we're on a sphere.
Yeah, so how do time zones work, man? How does that work? I think you said anyway. I think I believe the Earth is flat now. Because if the Earth was round, then we wouldn't be able to walk around the whole globe, you know what I mean? We can, so the Earth is flat.
Well, you can do it on both models. So what you're talking about is circumnavigation, and circumnavigation is possible in both models. So circumnavigation isn't really an argument for either.
But how can you walk underneath the Earth if it's flat? You would fall off the edge. Why hasn't people fallen off the edge?
I'm upside down right now in Australia.
Yeah, how come the people in Australia haven't walked off the edge of the Earth yet?
Oh, we're like drop bears. We're like holding on.
Nate.
Oh.
Do you feel like committing suicide right about now? Because I do.
No, not at all. I'd rather... Charlie has got reasonable questions, and don't get me wrong, these are questions that you and I have covered probably several years ago. But that's not to say that he's not going to come with these questions, and it's not unreasonable to ask them and get them answered.
How come you not walk off the Earth? Like, answer that one.
Charlie, are you trolling us?
No, I don't think he is. And even if he is, I don't mind, because there's going to be audience members that say questions like, how do you go around if we're not a globe? How can we possibly go all the way around it? And until you've seen something like an azimuthal equidistant projection with the North Pole at the centre, and you showed them that you just travel in a circle, until somebody hears that or sees that, they may not realise that circumnavigation is possible in both models. Now, that's not to say that I put my stamp on the AE model and say it is Earth.
Wait a second. I'd just like to interject and let Nathan know, as your moderator, he is trolling you, but you're too stupid to know it. I just felt compelled to let you know.
Yeah, no, as I just said, even if he is trolling me, that's absolutely fine, because he's asking relevant questions.
Can I just put a message out there to Nick with Noel in chat? Nick claims he's got 14 citations where the Cavendish experiment measures in good agreement with the original values of G. I'd like to see 14 citations of measurements in good agreement with the value of G, please, Nick. I'm calling you. Let's see your citations,
Answer my question. You didn't answer my question. How come we don't fall off the side of the Earth?
So why don't we fall off the edge of the flat Earth? Okay, the flat Earth edge is a meme that's put out by a particular group called the Flat Earth Society, who nobody I know in Flat Earth endorses. Now, they have memes of a flat disc with an edge with water spilling over the edge of it, and they will often cite that as a joke about falling off the edge of the Earth. Now that presupposes that we are a disk hurtling up at 8 meters per second through space, because the Flat Earth Society incorporate gravity into their model. Therefore, it must be a physical disk in space. Now, as a flat earther, I would say I don't believe...
But there's got to be an edge somewhere.
Sorry, say that again. Can you repeat that?
You said there's got to be an edge somewhere if it's a flat Earth.
No, not necessarily. I don't know the answer either way. There are two camps. I don't really sit in either. Camp number one is that there is an edge, which would be potentially something like a dome that would literally be a physical barrier stopping you going further. That's one camp. The other camp is that...
How come we haven't seen it yet? How come there's no thing online about that, going into an invisible barrier?
Okay, I will get to that. Why is there nothing online about it? But the other camp is that we have an infinite plane, so we have an infinite expanse in all directions. So bear with me, I will just get to the end of this. If you imagine space to be infinite in all directions, the flat Earth could be the same. But instead of going up, you're going out, horizontally. And that could be going on forever and ever. In other words, like they describe space. So to address your why isn't it on TV? Well, this subject is in the realms of conspiracy. So if you are to accept that
the flat Earth isn't actually flat, it's a conspiracy.
Well, no, the heliocentric globe Earth would be the conspiracy. They are conspiring to convince people like yourself that you live on a sphere.
They've got these things online saying that it's true.
Saying that the Earth
Nathan,
is a sphere.
can you turn me... Oh.
Sorry, I just want to establish what Charlie's saying is true online.
When I first started looking into flat Earth, there was a video that showed underwater, and it showed like some type of a film that you could call. You could use that as a reference to some type of a dome, but I wouldn't say dome, but a layer of that isn't penetrable.
Yeah, but if there's a layer that's not penetrable, then why isn't there somebody walking into the impenetrable layer and recording themselves not being able to get through a layer that's impenetrable? Surely somebody along the time in history, even the past few years, would have footage of this layer that they cannot get through.
Sure, I would agree. However, there are accounts from people like Admiral Byrd, who, again, is contentious on both sides of the argument. I believe he was a Freemason. He's obviously part of the elite. He's a admiral. So therefore, he is giving us accounts of there being more land beyond Antarctica. I think he says a land mass the size of the Americas or something along those lines. Now, I don't necessarily accept Admiral Byrd's accounts, but there are accounts in history of people who have gone out further. Now, there are various accounts of people who have encountered the dome. Again, I don't accept those either. I'm not even going to repeat them. But there are accounts. Now, that's not to say that we are in any position, me personally, to go down and explore. Some people will lead you to believe that you can. Others will make it clear that you can't. However, I don't think I am in a position to go and examine whether or not we have a dome or whether or not we can go out infinitely along the Antarctic ice shelf, if indeed that is the ring around what surrounds our Earth. I don't know that either. Well, I'm happy to say I don't know.
You were saying on Google Maps that it's not to the right millimetre or something, but when you think of it, it's the world they have to map. Surely it would take a long time.
They've had several, according to the people who believe they're on a globe, they use your example of sticks and shadows and cite it as coming from 2,000 years ago. So my argument would be that if you've had 2,000 years to figure it out and you have 100% accurate maps of the stars, the very ground beneath your feet should be a doddle, considering that the stars are billions of miles away.
Well, that's true, but at the end of the day, I've seen spacemen. I've seen spacemen, and they were in space.
Okay, where did you see them?
They were on YouTube.
Okay.
On the globe.
So if I was to put it to you that I have seen Godzilla on YouTube, would that mean that Godzilla is real?
Wait, you seen Godzilla?
Yeah, on YouTube.
Oh, no. Well, No, but what I mean is, they say it's true.
Yeah, I'm saying Godzilla's real. I say it's true. Does that make it true?
But you're not. You're not a scientist. You don't work for NASA.
Right. So what you're saying is, if I put a white coat on and go and get a degree, and then tell you that Godzilla's real, you will accept it.
No, because Godzilla's not real.
But you've just said the scientists assert it. So I've just said if I go and get a scientific degree in Godzilla and then come back to you in 2 years' time, fully degreed up, and say Godzilla's real, I've got a white coat on this time, here's letters after my name, would you then accept that Godzilla's real? Because that's the standard that you've just given me. The men in white coats say it's a globe, therefore I accept it. Well, if I put a white coat on, will you accept that Godzilla's real?
Of spacemen in the space and the spaceship's taking off. I've seen it.
Okay. It's back to the same exact assertion. So saying you've seen it is not the same as jumping on a spaceship and doing it and clarifying for yourself that that is actually what's happening. And we would assert that they are lying. That that's a deception.
But does that mean the moon is flat too?
No, I would argue the moon is a sphere for various reasons, which I won't get into here. But what I will tell you,
how did the Earth ever become flat? I don't understand. How did because
the Earth was always flat. It was always flat.
Meteors around.
Okay, so what I would suggest you do in terms of the space footage is go and have a look at the Apollo missions, the missions where they went to the moon, and try to bear in mind what a backdrop is. So if you ever look at some old-fashioned movies with a backdrop, or if you've ever been to the theatre and you've seen a backdrop, try and keep that in mind when you look at the moon footage. Essentially, they are on a set.
But I saw a movie, Apollo 13, and the Earth was round.
Right, so that's a good example. So the Hollywood movie, fictional, although based on reality, obviously they didn't actually travel around the moon in that movie, but it looked like they did. So it's very easy to convince you with the suspension of disbelief that people are travelling around the backside of the moon as they did in Apollo 13. But I assure you, Tom Hanks has not been around the moon, even though it appeared like he did. And in the same way, I assure you, Neil Armstrong has not been to the moon, although it may appear to have been that way on a screen.
Right. Right. I think I've lost it here because I'm just thinking, why would they spend all this money convincing us that the Earth is round? Why would they? What's in it for them?
Good question.
Why waste all this time? I mean, spend all this time making these things and these videos to debunk something that really doesn't affect you.
A one-word answer: land.
Ah, I know what that is.
Yeah, land. The one thing they tell us they're not making any more of, and there may be considerably more of. Well, if you wrap the map around a sphere, and you can only go back on yourself in that model, there's nowhere else to explore. It's all been explored already. Whereas if we live on an infinitely expanding flat plane, there might be nothing but land. We might have an abundance of land.
Wait,
well,
so
if you're taxing people based on the land,
space.
If you're taxing people based on the land,
maybe the sun's a hologram.
Say again, sorry.
Maybe the sun is a hologram and the moon's a hologram.
Maybe. I have no way of verifying that.
Because maybe these big people with all the money, they make oil, get oil from this land. I see. Yeah. That's how they're all so rich.
Yeah, well, they can just print more money. I think it's beyond land, it's also control. I mean, if you look into currency, look into what a fiat currency is, and then you'll understand that the meaning of money is pretty much pointless.
Fiat 500s.
Yeah, fiat, you're right. Fiat currencies, look into it.
Okay. When I'm rich in a couple of years, I'll tell you if there's an infinite land. Okay? And then we can settle this.
Yeah. Or you'll become like Richard Branson and sell the lie when you figure it out.
That's a good point. I'll sell the lie because I want to make more money.
Because you'll want more power and more control over the people who don't know.
There's 100 people watching us talk about the flat Earth. That is incredible.
Yeah, I would just say Earth. I mean, you keep saying when did it change, but the Earth has never changed. Your perception of it is all we're talking about here. Your
I still
perception
believe
of
that
it
the
being a
Earth
globe.
is circular because the Google Earth shows it being circular, and Google, they don't lie.
Right, but we've just established with the physicist and the mathematician that it's basically wrong, inaccurate, not much use for gauging height of things. Well, when you're talking about the sphere of the Earth, I would expect that to be the first thing to be accurate on a model of a sphere Earth. It isn't, and even the people who use it as their model say it isn't, and are now arguing how accurate it isn't with us. So thanks for that, the physicist and mathematician. They're telling us how inaccurate it is. Say again?
You're like the majority of the people believe in a flat Earth in the world, then?
No, the entirety of the people live on a flat Earth, regardless of their perceptions given to them by the elites.
The elite. Are these the Jews then, the elite?
No, I
Because
wouldn't necessarily argue
they
that Jews are the single head of the Hydra.
I'm not saying because you're going into that kind of conspiracy. But
Charlie, you're...
No, go ahead. You go ahead, Charlie. You feel free to ask any question you like in this regard. Unless we've lost our entire panel, which it looks like we have. So it might be a time to chat with Anthony Riley and then round out the show in a few minutes' time. You still with us, Anthony?
To be honest, it was killing me, that whole conversation. It was like talking with someone that was Down syndrome or something, man. It was
don't
too
be
difficult.
nasty.
Well, I don't
He's just
mean to be
gathering his
nasty.
thoughts. You know,
he was clearly trolling, Nath. I know
I
you
don't
were
think
being
so.
accommodating, and that's the show, and I get it. I just couldn't do it, me. I'd kick him just for being stupid.
Keeps me on my toes with some of the basic flat Earth arguments, which I haven't gone through in months. I've got to be honest. You know, I'm sure I described the Cavendish experiment wrong. It's because I haven't tried to describe it in probably a year.
I was going to say, this thing you said about the moon being spherical. What makes you think it's spherical?
Me, libration, the fact that you can see shadows in the craters. It looks like a sphere.
That's what I wanted to speak to Tim about, libration, because I know what the claim is. It's 59% of visibility instead of 50%. But I want to know how they measured that 9%, because when I look at the movement, the animation for libration, it looks to me that all they're doing is changing the position of the focus in the camera, changing the aperture of the camera, and
that is what it does.
The moon move.
I've studied libration with my telescope. First thing I did.
Can you actually see more of the moon? Or...
you can. It's. I don't know. I'm prepared to put regardless of what it physically is, it represents itself as a sphere. That's the best way I can describe it, because I don't know if it's a physical object. You know, you can project things that look spherical, but as far as I can tell, looking at it, it's a sphere. There's no other way I can describe it. I mean, it might be a dish. You know, we might be seeing downturned edges of a dish. It might not continue beyond that. I can't verify that either way. I can't get behind the moon. But, you know, I'm happy to make the extrapolation that it's a sphere.
I actually think that if you look at a sphere, bearing in mind that we get hot spots from the sun, which we shouldn't get, but, you know, like the light spots, the concentration of light, we should also see that concentration point on the moon because of its spherical nature, and we don't see that. However, in contrast, we see parts of the moon that are clearly in focus, and half the moon appears to be out of focus. Have you noticed that angular, the resolution differences between one side over the other? It's not all uniformly in the focal. It's not all uniformly in focus for us. There are parts of it that are sharper with clarity, and other parts that appear to be flat. So
yes, I would agree with that too. I mean, the other fascinating thing is the dark side of the moon. You know, that's normally when I'm watching Christie's Take Back Space TV YouTube channel. When I'm watching his stuff and he's looking at the moon, I'll often just say in the chat, "Can you just show me the dark side of the moon?" And I've looked at the moon. I don't want to say I'm bored of it. I'm not, but you know, that's when you can get a clear shot of the dark side, and I mean the obscured bit that we do see by dark side. You know, like the dark left-hand side, not the rear of the moon. That's fascinating to look at.
Yeah, I agree. My position on the moon is I don't know what it is, but in my opinion, it defies all known physics because it has attributes that are inconsistent with it being spherical. I accept it's round. I can see that it's round myself. I accept that there are phases, even though I have question marks over what the phases are supposed to be proving. But I can also tell that when you get a full moon, and we're on a full moon at the minute, when you look up, get your camera out and zoom in and focus on the top right-hand corner, for example. Get that bit pin sharp. And then you look down and see that the bottom left-hand corner is not in focus. And it should be in focus because it's the same focal length away. But you can clearly see that it's out of focus. It's smooth and flat, whereas the top right-hand corner of the moon appears to be very texture-like. And I find that contradictory to the notion that the moon is actually tangible. It appears to be some kind of computer thing. And I don't want to say, like, I don't know what it is. But if the moon is a spherical ball of moon dust, it should be in focus for the whole of the moon because it's in the same focal point. But it's not. So that's the bit for me. I think the moon is evidence that proves that it is creation because physics cannot explain key points of the moon. For me, it doesn't look spherical. It looks flat. It appears to be out of focus when you look at one half compared to the other.
I would like to Paul, I know Paul's not even on the panel. It's such a shame. We will get this sorted. But Paul from the chat said there's no such thing as the dark side. This is why Paul's my favourite baller, because he says things that make me go, really? What do you mean? Or, proves you wrong. I like that. I know most people hate being proven wrong, but I actually quite like it. But Paul just said from the chat, there's no such thing as the dark side. So if you can, Paul, I'd love to know what you mean. Is it just a turn of phrase people use because of the Pink Floyd album?
And just to be clear to Mark Dumbass Taylor, I don't think the focal length of a telescope is the distance it sees. What I'm saying, Mark, is if you focus on one part of the moon, Mark, it should all be the same, Mark. You shouldn't get one bit that's in focus and one bit that's out of focus, because it's the same focal length away, Mark. Don't you understand that, or do you have to misrepresent my words again, Mark?
I think Jem's given me the answer. He says it's just the far side, so I think calling it the dark side of the moon is just a incorrect turn of phrase.
Yeah, it depends whether you're talking about the moon subjectively or objectively. I'm
just reading Jem's answer. He says it's the far side, and yeah, I mean, again, if I put my heliocentric hat on, they've presented images of the backside of the moon, and it's not darker. So yeah, I know what he's saying, and based on their extrapolations and their evidence, I would say yeah, I agree with them.
I prefer calling the far side of the moon the dark side. It makes it sound so much more sci-fi than it actually is. By calling it the far side, it makes it sound like literal and like scientifically. Let's call it the dark side, just because it dispels the notion of reason and logic, and it just reinforces the notion of science fiction, because that is what we're living in, boys and girls. Sci-fi. By the way, does anybody know how to get the P900 to record a video of the moon without putting a lens cover on it, a lens filter? Because every time I can take a photo of the moon and it's clear, I can't get a video because obviously the lens itself, the aperture remains open and it's just gets whitewashed out. Do you need a filter, or is there another way of doing it?
I've never used filters, so I wouldn't know. Mark's in the chat. He knows a lot about telescopes. He's got a really good one. Maybe he'll tell you. Can you hear us, Mark Taylor?
Riley thinks your eyes travel out to the moon to see it. Well, that's how our focal range works on our eyes, Mark. Our iris controls our focal range, and as our iris changes, we can see further. So yes, I do believe that, Mark. And you can't prove that the light comes to me, because everybody says that light travels in straight lines. When you actually look into light, light's a wave, Mark. It's not actually it's not a particle. It doesn't have any mass. I was listening to you talking with Ali B the other night, and I just realised in retrospect what Ali B was getting at when he was saying that light particles don't have any mass, therefore they must not be particles. And when you look into that, he's referring to the double slit experiment, and unfortunately, you have to agree. I have to agree with him. The double slit experiment proves categorically that light is actually a wave and it is not linear. I know it opens up a can of worms because the double slit experiment is rejected by mainstream science. However, Ali B was quite right. I agree with him. Light is a wave.
So Paul again comes up with the goods. He says use manual exposure settings or a neutral density filter.
Yeah, for a video though, I don't think it works for a video because manual exposure settings haven't made it. Still gets bleached out when I do it on a video. It's fine. I mean, I looked at Red's Rhetoric's video recently of the ISS transit in the moon, and I wondered how he did it. And I asked him what settings did he use, and he told me that he only changed focal. He only changed the focus. But he couldn't have done because unless he had something different about his moon. But every time I try getting the moon on a video, it gets bleached out. and if I varied the focus, it doesn't change the bleaching out aspect. So, I mean, I was talking about this with Mike Helmick, and I can't repeat Reds' moon experiment without putting a filter on, and he claims he didn't use one. So for that reason alone, I've got to call bullshit. But I don't know how he's done it without using a filter on a video.
Clear up a few things from the chat. So John Watson, love it. He says, particle or wave? I know, let's call it both.
Yeah. You're not allowed to call it both at the same time, are you? But you can call it a particle or you can call it a wave, but you can't call them both at the same time, which is so confusing. It's either one or the other, right? And apparently not. Science says it can be both, but not at the same time. Anders Ace, curved, you are thick. I didn't see what curved said that made him thick. What did he say that made him thick? Let me scroll back up, because I'm sure it'll have been something to do with me. Curved water, where are you?
Hold on, Paul's got another comment. The double slit experiment, it's jumping, demonstrates the wave nature of light. The photoelectric effect demonstrates particle nature of light. Have I said that right?
Yeah.
Photoelectric? Yes.
He's right. The wave nature of light. So have you noticed when we talk about refraction, generally the opening line, when you've not spoke to somebody before about refraction, is they always start with, do we agree that light travels in straight lines? And that's the negation, or that's negating the effect of the double slit experiment by asking that question. And I always just say yes to it, because if you say no to it, it opens up a whole can of worms that takes an hour. And what happens then is that mainstream science wins because everybody agrees that mainstream science applies, and the double slit experiment therefore doesn't. So you have to say yes to that, otherwise it opens up a huge can of worms. But to be honest, I like the can of worms that's being opened, because it shows what people understand, what people believe, what people think is true. And the reality is the light does go in a wave, because that experiment proves it.
So Baron von Poopy Pants and I think Belligerent Drunk both asked the same question. How much is Oakley paying Lily to spout his nonsense? Technically, this was covered yesterday. People were criticising Anthony Riley for hitting my super chat because they were saying he was paying me to let me have his opinions. Yeah. So yeah, I'm paying him nothing. My purpose in being is to make money.
I support the channel because I think this is an ideal platform for people like me to come on and ask people like Paul to give his evidence, and then Paul comes on and shows maths, hopes that I accept that as evidence, and then hopefully the Earth is a ball. However, I actually like to see proof, and I like to see evidence. I don't like to see maths, because we all know that mathematics can make a straight plane appear to be a ball because Aristophanes did it. Using the maths that Aristophanes used, you can make a flat plane appear to be a ball just by using an apparent radius.
Just in a really interesting comment from Psychedelic Christian, or Tim. Noon's Flower and I are going to take a picture from, is it I can't pronounce that. Portavugui? I don't know how to say it. Of England. So he's going to take a picture of England from Ireland.
Mark Taylor doesn't understand how videos are different to photos, Mark. Riley's girlfriend's a professional photographer. Yeah, that's talk. That's pictures, Mark. I'm asking about videos. Mark can't video. So, what? Sorry, Nathan. What were you talking about? What was the comment that you were discussing then?
Just that Psychedelic Christian lives, or his girlfriend lives in Ireland, and they've been paying attention to the Flat Earth debate, and he's now making a comment that he wants to do a similar observation, but of England from Ireland.
Whereabouts in Ireland does he live? I
couldn't pronounce the name of it. I won't scroll back because it'll ruin the chat for the video.
All right, well, I can tell you where I believe we've identified the land of Ireland that we are looking at. Let me get my map up, because I wouldn't want to try and... Because they're all really unusual names, and I don't want to mispronounce it, and to give the guy half a chance, I'm going to have to work out my best pronunciation of it. Google Earth Pro. I love how it's called Google Earth Pro, and really there's nothing pro about it. It's not got accurate elevations on it. Land masses don't appear to be in the right place based on real world observations. All right, so if it's Portaferry or Portavogie, anywhere along that coast there, on the other side of that lake, I'm not sure what the lake is, or the low-lying land that's got water in it. So Portaferry, Portavogie, that's the land that we're seeing in the evidence. So if we can see you from here, then you should be able to see us from there. But the caveat is that it was on an exceptionally clear day. Obviously, that means that we can invoke non-standard refraction, but in actual fact, we can negate all forms of refraction, other than negligible refraction, because there wasn't any. But Portaferry, Portavogie, they're the two towns that we think that we're looking at. That was the line of sight we were looking at. So in theory, you should be able to look backwards and see the same thing.
Mark Taylor says, "Lol, fee can't even us cameras. Lol, it's hilarious." I think Globers can't even type in English. Would be a better response.
Lol, Flat Earth can't even use cameras. Lol, it's hilarious. Mark, you go and get a DSLR camera and take a video of the moon. Because when you take a video on a DSLR camera, Mark, it opens the lens all the time, and you can't control the amount of light that floods into it, other than ISO settings possibly. But I have the ISO setting on as low as I can get it, and it still gets bleached out. So, Mark, if you can show me what I'm doing wrong with a DSLR camera taking a video of the moon...
There you go. Sorry, new perspective. Riley, there is a selection on the P900 that allows you to select moon, that you can select... Oh, sorry, my kid's trolling us. There's apparently a setting that's difficult to find on the P900 for specifically doing that with the moon.
I think it's for pictures, though, that. I don't think it works for the video.
I'm happy to round out this show anytime. We've been going for 1 hour and 56 minutes. Got 100 people watching on the backup channel. And it's a morning show. That is quite astonishing.
Yeah, I mean, wait until we find out when we sort out what's his name. The guy, I can't remember what his name. I don't even know the guy's name, but the guy from the Isle of Man, if we can sort out a flare or some equivalent way, probably a bright flashlight will probably do it. But if he can prove that, that'll prove that we're seeing Ireland, and that's way behind the curve. So yeah, keep up to date with the flat Earth debate, because we're going to prove that we did see Ireland, and that's impossible on a ball.
Coolio. Right, I'm going to round out this show now. Thanks for keeping the show going the last 15 minutes, Anthony. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
And yeah, of course, a massive, huge, enormous thank you. Let's close this camera off. Hold on. These are the teething problems that I knew I would have. Let's see if that works. Hooray! So yes, first and foremost, a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for joining us on the backup channel for the Flat Earth debate. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. Also a massive thank you to all of the debating panel who joined us on this debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.